Hey, world. Hey, world. It's being able to come back to another video. Cell phone going off. Might let that one ride, family. My phone would be going off when I go live. You know what I'm talking about? Jason, AZ in the house. Thank you guys for joining me in the garden. Hobby. Another day of living. You already know, family. Every day is a blessing. Every day you manifest your own reality. AZ. Family, you didn't get to check me out earlier today. I talked about the stock market. What I'm going to do tonight, family, I want to put this whole thing in perspective. Because if you're watching the television and if you listen to others, then you're going to view this whole economy as its own separate entity. But we got to understand, family, that it's not its own separate entity. The stock market is only, like I said before, if you didn't check my last video out, check that out earlier. I just dropped it earlier today, family. The stock market is what I would call a glorified bank account that's dictated by the government. AZ just mentioned QE, more QE coming. And you're exactly right, because I just heard that the Federal Reserve will be lowering interest rates by September. Now, if you don't know what QE is, that's a quantitative easing, family. That's when the government actually adds more money into the economy. Now, I talked about in my last video about what QE is and how that's even possible. Family, it's pretty simple. The Federal Reserve is a central bank. It purchases United States debt. And when it purchases United States debt, it purchases that debt in treasury bonds. All right. And so it's really corporate America that actually experiences this type of wealth transfer. And if you listened to me earlier, I told you that it's not middle America, middle class, upper middle class. It's not those that are investing now that's causing this market to have such volatility. We don't do that. It's corporations and major hedge funds. And so what basically happening right now, if anybody that's pretty much invested in the stock market, you're going to lose a lot of money here soon. If the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates, again, and think about that for a minute, family. Who does lowering the interest rates, who does it benefit? Yes, Avi, stocks are easier than real estate, but it's still the same concept. You still have to do your due diligence and do the research. Now, I'm gonna do a video next week about current ratio. And so if you guys are interested in investing in the stock market, once again, family, I wouldn't be in the stock market right now. I would make sure that you understand that all these different indicators, the yield curve, which is inverted, the volatility in the stock market is actually going up and down like this. The trade tariffs and the so-called trade wars with China and other countries, these are all what they call indications that can stress an economy that can actually lead to a recession. Now, what I want to do, family, is let you know that it's no such thing as something leading to a recession. They determine that. It's been 10, 11 years. This has been the longest bull market, which means the longest market that people have been making money in the history of the stock market. So, of course, and I talk to my students for many, many years, what goes up must come down. And so right now, the stock market will be receding soon. Now, what I would actually suggest for you guys, like say, if the entertainment is on it, is to pay yourself first. Okay. Now, what I want to do, family, is get into this live on the title. KY, what it do? Thanks for joining the garden, brother. You called me today. Fam, I want to talk about rural America and how 70% of America, family, is rural, okay? And how the big agricultural corporations are basically just kind of taking over. And if you think for 1 minute that the food that we eat is provided by our farmers, you are mistaken. The food that we eat, family, comes from genetic modified organisms. The food that we eat doesn't come from here. The food that we eat is food that's going to keep us unhealthy generationally. It's not an accident, family, that you live in a country where over half the country is quote unquote pre-diabetic. It's not an accident. And the reason why it's not an accident, family, is because rural America is broke. The farmers that back in the 70s and the 60s and before provided us our food. Think about this, family. We live in a country of over 300 million people, and the farmers don't even provide our food for us. Do you own your land? JJ, I have to agree with you. Great comment. Real estate and stocks, bonds, all of that is easy if you educate yourself, okay? It's all timing. Remember, all this is a big Ponzi scheme. If you didn't watch my last video, guys, I talked about how the stock market is a Ponzi scheme. Think about this, family. Who determines the price of gold? Gold is a rock. If I had an ounce of gold right now, what good would it do if I couldn't spend it? Okay? And so when you think about what's really valuable, it's your energy. Family, my heart goes out to 70% of America because 70% of America, which is the rural areas, are broke. Family, they call them food deserts. And I don't know if you've driven around America and went to a lot of small towns. There's nothing there. How are the people in these small towns supposed to survive? Okay. And so that's why I say, since we're in the cities and areas where we can take advantage of our energy and have access to certain things, pay yourself first. Build your capital. Because remember, this Ponzi scheme that's going on right now, if you watch the television, they're telling you every day that it's a Ponzi scheme. Family, fake news is Jeffrey Epstein and the fact that he quote unquote killed himself. What? To believe that is to believe that Sandra Bland killed herself. See, anytime there's no proof, then why would you believe it? Hobby. That's one of my students. Always invest in yourself first. Okay? Always invest in yourself first, family, because remember, your health is your wealth. And if you're in a situation right now, and Harvey, he's one of my students, if you're in a situation right now that you automatically paying yourself, it's not necessary for you to just go out there and start investing in things that you don't understand. Invest in yourself, meaning invest in your financial education. You're not going to be wealthy just working. That's out. The only way you're going to be wealthy in this particular society is to invest. They make us do it because they control it. The politicians do not have our best interests at heart. I mean, just think about the story that was in the news today, which I call fake news. Two congresswomen were refused interest into Israel. Now, if you don't know about Israel, Israel is allegedly the United States' #1 ally. Just like they're an ally. But what bothers me is that there's a group of people in that area called Palestinians that gets no love. Okay? And so that's what I'm saying. Make sure that it's important to be geopolitically and geoeconomically conscious, because then you can make better financial investment decisions. Okay? And like I say, rural America is broke. If you decide that you want to invest in real estate and buy land, you need to make sure that the land that you buy is land that you own, not only surface, but also minerals. Family, this is some information I just came across. Did you know that if you buy some land, you need to read the fine print and find out and make sure that not only do you own the surface land, but also the minerals? Because if you just buy some land and you just own the surface, then guess what can happen? As the people in Kentucky and West Virginia and Pennsylvania and all those areas up there where the mining companies come in and just take their land because they thought they owned land. You only own the surface if you're not meticulous. Minerals are what's under the earth of the land that you allegedly own, and that's when a big corporation come in and be drilling on your land. Look at some information in West Virginia and Kentucky and Pennsylvania, family. It's really ridiculous, and the fact that they don't talk about that is somewhat dismissive. You have to understand, if you're going to own land, and land is real estate, but make sure that when you look into buying land, there's a difference between owning the land, which is the surface, and the minerals in that land. So if you don't own the minerals, you don't own the land. And what takes precedent when it comes to corporations and capital? Minerals. Okay? Thank you, KY. Mineral rights. And if you don't own the mineral rights to your land, family, a corporation can come in, right? Get you off of that land, or say, okay, we're just going to drill under your land and grab all the minerals from it. And you probably sitting on a gold mine. But if you purchase land, a property, and don't own the mineral rights, you only own the dirt on top. And this is how it's a Ponzi scheme, family. And this is why the politicians don't let us know this. Why are politicians that allegedly we vote for to do what's best for its constituents don't address the inequities of land ownership, the inequities of rural America, and the inequities of the stock market, real estate market, and the commodities market? How do they not address that? You know why? Because they ain't on it. KY just made a great point. He said they're fracking. And if you don't know what fracking is, family, that's when they go up under your land and take your mineral resources. And here you are thinking, oh, that's my land. You only own the surface rights. Just like your car. You're paying for that car, but don't get insurance or don't get your registration on it and see what happens to that car. It's no longer yours. And so that is the disingenuity of the place we live in called America. And that's why it's very, very important that you educate yourself financially and economically, because you can get yourself into some terrible situations. All right? Thank you, Texas Made. This land ownership, family, is a little bit more meticulous than you think. You have to make sure that what you own is not just land, but surface, minerals, area. Okay? Because if not, then you're going to get caught up in the shuffle. All right? So once again, family, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Look into not just real estate, but look into these markets Gold, I'm not an advocate of gold because I can't spend gold. And I don't like the fact that someone can sit in their office and say, you know what? Today we're gonna make gold $1,400 an ounce today. That's not cool. Today we're gonna make the stock market drop 800 points. Family, in 2007 and 2008, there were trillions of dollars lost. Not by the corporations, mind you, but by millions and millions of citizens that trusted their pension plans, their 401k. Family, take control of your finances, because if you wait, and I promise you, this crash is going to be worse than 2008. Now, KY just mentioned buying land internationally. Family, quit being in a box. They want us to just be consumers over here. Family, if you have the capital, save your money, pay yourself first, and get land in other countries, family. Because you're not going to come up by just being a consumer. Thank you, Deborah. Even if you pay your house off, in 2007 and 2008, family, there were hundreds of thousands of senior citizens and people lose their homes because they weren't able to pay taxes on them. And these are individuals that paid that house off. Now, mind you, if you didn't get a chance to watch my video, now people want to call me while I'm live. If you want to pay that house off, think about this. If you own a house right now, when you got your mortgage and you apply for that mortgage, did that bank give you $100,000 or $200,000 or however much you put in for that loan? Did you get that money? No. But you paid not only what you didn't get back, but 3, 4, 5 times more because of interest. Now think about that game. Oh man, Texas made. Thank you. That's why I'm glad you guys in the garden, family. HOA, family. How you gonna have an association, which is called the Homeowners Association, come and tell you what you can and can't do to the home you just purchased? Anytime you buy something, and family, I did this a minute ago, you need to look at things, and I never like to tell people what they need to do. Let's look at things in this perspective. Assets and liabilities. Assets are things that bring you money. Liabilities are things that you pay out. So look at what you do every month. And the things that you're paying every month on, that's a liability. What you're getting back every month, that's an asset. So ask yourself, what is your current ratio? Meaning, what is your current liquidity versus your liabilities? Now, right now, family, 78% of all Americans couldn't stand or couldn't tolerate a $1,000 emergency. Why? Because their current ratio isn't there. And it's very, very important, family. Even if you guys in the garden want to start investing, you need to take care of, I'm going with that need crap. Let's make sure that we take care of our individual finances. Let's be more financially educated on our individual finances, meaning everything that's coming in, where is it going? And everything that's coming in, can I get a piece of that first? Meaning pay yourself first, okay? Good stuff, KY. All right, so family, you don't have assets, you have liabilities. And who teaches us this? Who teaches us that your money is going to lose 1.97 or 1.96% every year? Because they don't tell us that inflation is 2% every year. And right now, family, inflation is like 1.7 or 1.8%. And guess what? The Federal Reserve wants to get to 2%. So what they meaning? They want to make sure you pay more for your purchases. And with that being the case, think about in 10 years. If it's 2% every year, that's 2 times 10. Do the math on inflation. It's not an accident back in the 80s or back in the early 90s, you can get a Whopper for less than $1. How much is a Whopper now? It's not an accident that most companies that were quote unquote American made, like Texas made, but they no longer American made. GE owned by China. Most of all the corporations are owned by foreigners. Okay, things that you think are American made are not American made. And so this whole notion of this tariff, guys, come on. We don't produce anything. We don't manufacture anything. So we're not manufacturing or producing, then what are we doing? Consumers. Everything that we do has to come into this country. Okay? So, fam, you'll never ever see commercials or advertisements on my videos because I don't do that. I'm not on this to get paid. I get paid by seeing a number of people in the garden. You dig? So let's educate ourselves, family. Check this out before I get up out of here. The bond market, it's inverted. It's an inverted curve. What does that mean, family? We did this last week. A 2-year, 5-year, 10-year treasury bond. What's a treasury bond? All it is a glorified savings account. If you got 10 to 15 stacks that you're not going to be using in the next 2 or 5 years, what you going to do? You're not just going to put it in a savings account. You can hedge that by putting it in bonds. But guess what? That's the Ponzi scheme. Because the Federal Reserve can come in and say, you know what? We're going to flood the 2-year market. We're going to flood the 5-year market. We're going to flood the 10-year market. That's why it's important to stay on top of geopolitical and economic news so you can kind of stay ahead of the game. Don't be a passive investor. Be active. So if you have a 401k, 403b, 457, find out what your money going to. Don't just be contributing your money to a fund every month that you don't even know what's going to. And if you know right now that we don't have major sell-offs, family, ain't no such thing as no stock market. It's a glorified banking account that when people get nervous because they don't have any financial education, what do? They listen to the television. They listen to people tell them these horrific stories about trades and tariffs and all that crap. And then they sell. But guess what happens? The major corporations do this, family. It's just like if everybody in the garden right now, I own the stock market. And I wanted you guys to pay me more in the stock market. What am I do? I'm going to sell a lot of stock and lower the prices to get you guys to buy. And when you buy, it's going to go up. And so it is a situation, family, where this isn't rocket science. Don't squash market capitalization, PE ratios, earnings per share, dividend yield. Yeah, that's all cool and grand to know. But what it really boils down to is what's going on in the economy. How many people are selling stocks and how many people are buying stocks? You want to be in the game when people are selling stocks off. You don't want to be the guys in the game that's selling like everybody else. When everybody's selling, you buying. Okay? The television is never going to give you the real information, family. So stay in the garden. Any questions? Yes, I do, Jason. Un momento, por favor. Family, I've showed this literature before, but I want to come back with some literature I think is really, really good. And I read these books like 3 or 4 times. I think it'll be a great resource. Family, the first one is called Value Investing Today. Book by what his name is? Charles Brandeis. Okay? Charles Brandeis. Great resource. As well as Dividend Growth Investment Strategies. Okay? And that's by Ms. Roxanne Klugman. Okay? Dividend Growth Investment Strategies. And I have The Intelligent Investor that's at my office that I read often. Is by Benjamin Graham. Okay. So the books that I just showed you, as well as Intelligent Investor, there's another one, family. Peter Lynch. He wrote a book called One Up on Wall Street. Check that out. His name is Peter Lynch. And guys, what I'm starting doing is putting this information in the in my description box so you guys get those resources. But I'm telling you right now, Hobby, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Great resource. Thanks, Hobby. So let's make sure, family, that we educate ourselves. Matter of fact, I want to show one more. Bam. Listen here, family. This is called the Motley Fool Investment Guide. Mad information, family. Mad information. And actually, the Motley Fool has a newsletter as well as the website where they give great information. And then, of course, family, one of my favorites. And it's not financially motivated, but it's motivation itself. This book is one of my favorite books of all time, family. It's called The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. If you haven't had a chance to read this, family, check this out, okay? Because what this basically does is let us know that we have a purpose on this planet. And when I say planet, I mean plain net, because, of course, if you don't know my ideology on our existence, it's not like everyone else's. I do understand that we all have a purpose. I do understand that the purpose that we're here for has been stymied, has been blinded, and we've been misinformed because they want us to be sheeple, consumers, and non-thinkers, okay? Now, I've never been one to just believe because I'm not a believer. Believers are for suckers. You're supposed to know. I mean, I stopped believing when I realized that when I looked up at the sun and they told me that it was 93 million miles from us. Sorry, family. Can't go with that one. I stopped believing when I wake up and I go in the daytime and I see the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time. And that's not how this particular galaxy allegedly is supposed to be. So that there told me, hold up, it's more to what's going on than what they're telling us. And so when I get into this financial game, I realized the same thing. Let me get into the comments, family. LB Teach Me. Thank you for joining me in the garden. Jason, Hobby, KY still in the house. The human eye can't see that far. You know what I mean? I mean, check this out. How am I supposed to believe that the stock market not a Ponzi scheme when y'all tell me the moon is 257,000 miles from me? The sun is 93 million miles from us. And I've never seen Mercury, Venus, Mars, all those other planets when the moon is way further than everybody else, all the other planets. So that told me right there, let's look at things a little deeper. And when I started looking a little deeper, I realized that we as individuals don't own anything. We don't own our homes. We don't own our land. And it's pretty pathetic, family, when we don't even own our children. Try to take your kids out of school. Or just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to educate my kid today or this week. They're not going to school. See what happens. Okay? And so this notion of this sense of freedom, family, if you feel free, totally free, then where are you getting this freedom from? Because I want to join you, because complete freedom is being who you want to be, living where you want to live, living how you want to live, living with who you want to live with, and what you want to live. I mean, if you can't do that, is that you're not free. And so what we basically do, family, we have to free ourselves mentally. Don't fall into this facade, because that's what it is, a facade. How can we continue to, quote unquote, believe politicians when every year, every 2 years or 4 years when they're in office, they're always making false promises? Okay. And so, family, we are not on a spinning ball. I was in my truck today and I put my hand out the window and I was just going 35 miles per hour, and my hand, you know, my arm went back like this. But we're supposed to be spinning at 1,000 miles per hour like this? Come on, family. On a tilted axis? Family, let me tell you something. You're in heaven. Based on the theologies and the ideologies that we've been taught as kids, heaven is what? Above, right? It's in the sky, it's in the heavens, right? We're supposed to be in the heavens. This so-called ball is supposed to be spinning in space infinitely. So we should be in heaven. It's not an accident that they say it's heaven on earth, because the heaven on earth starts right here. You manifest it. See, that's the thing they don't tell us. Manifestation of your own reality starts right here. You are in heaven now. Politicians and religious leaders are the only ones that want us to wait for happiness, want us to wait for wealth, want us to wait for eternal happiness. Why? Because they automatically know that it's already on earth. You manifest it by not believing the crap, this matrix stuff. Okay? So, family, I just want to come back with a quick live on 3 things. Rural America, family. There are a lot of food deserts in America. 70% of people don't live in the cities. We do not produce our own food, family. Only 0.02% of our food is produced by farmers in America. You don't own your land, family, if you don't know about your surface rights and your mineral rights. The stock market is a Ponzi scheme, family, if you don't know when to pay yourself first and when to get in and get out. And last but not least, family, manifest your own reality here. This whole reality we're living in is a Ponzi scheme. They told us we're spinning on a ball in space. You believe that? And those who want to learn more about growing weed and cannabis, there's a class at University of Connecticut. So let me think about this for a minute before I get out of here, family. And thank you again, guys, for joining me in the garden. We have hundreds of thousands of Afro-melanated young brothers in prison for cannabis and marijuana growing and marijuana possession. Now you're trying to tell me right now we got kids that can go to college and learn how to do it, and those people are still in prison? If that's not a false reality, then what is? Okay. So coming back again on Monday, family, 7:30, between 7:30 and 8. If you don't get a chance to check out if you don't get a chance to get the notifications, family, please make sure you push the notification buttons, subscription buttons, share this information, family. Like I said, you'll never see commercials or advertisements on my channel. We're going right through live. So let's make sure, guys, that we understand that the true Son of God is what God comes up every day. Not some guy walking around here, walking on water and stuff. And okay. So manifest your reality, family, right here. Don't believe all the minutia of fake news. Jeffrey Epstein, A$AP Rockies, R. Kelly's, all that crap is crap. What's real, family, is pay yourself first. Understand that when you get into real estate, make sure you actually own the land, the surface rights and the mineral rights if you can. Real estate, make sure that you understand that property values go up and down. You don't want to be that cat that spent $100,000 for a home or a townhouse that's only worth, and everybody else in the neighborhood paid $25,000. You just ruin that market. Okay? So all right, let me see here, guys. I want to go ahead and send some shout outs. LB Teach Me, Jason, AZ, KY LaPimp, Deborah, all you guys in the garden fan, I really appreciate it. You guys are the reason why I do this, and I'm gonna keep doing this while you guys in the garden with me. Last time, let me see. LB Teach Me. I mean, it's what they call cognitive dissonance. LB just made a great point. How they get us, family, is every quarter. Think about this. There are 4 quarters a year. Think about the holidays that fall on those quarters. And think about how rich we make these corporations. Christmas, Thanksgiving, July 4th, Valentine's, all of this crap. To spend your hard-earned energy, not money, because money don't exist. There's no such thing. You can't say you got $100 and then you go to the bank and it's just paper. There's no gold. There's nothing to back that up. Easter. Thank you, KY. And Black Friday is a distraction, but guess what? The real Black Friday is the Black Friday when this market crashes and then we become rich. See, the Black Friday after Thanksgiving, that's for poor people. That's for non-educated people. Rich people's Black Friday starts when the market crashes. And guess what? They know it. Okay? So let's make sure we take, understand what the real Black Friday is. And everything black is beautiful. Okay? Powder. Really, KY? Yeah. Well, LB, they get into our children's mind at the age of 6 once they get us into sitting in those chairs at kindergarten and make us robots from kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 12, first, sixth, first through fifth, 6 through 8, and then 9 through 12. That's the indoctrination. All right. If we can make sure that during that process, like I do, family, my sons, they already know about market capitalizations and stuff like that. I'm teaching them to invest and teaching them to understand finance. I don't care about no jump shot. I don't care about no free throw. I don't care about that crap. If they want to play, they play. But what they're going to do is understand this real game. And the real game is played by rich people, not poor people. Okay? So family, old man finna get out the garden. Thank you for joining me in the garden, family. I think I'm gonna come back again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. So I will be in the garden tomorrow, family. So make sure you come in and join me. I will be in about 7:30, 8 again, okay? So people still in the garden. LB, Jason, KY, AZ, Deborah, and I know my boy Texas Maven in the house. Thank you guys for joining me, family. Like I say, one reach, one teach. Any information I give you, family, make sure you share with others, okay? And have a different perspective of our reality. It's no stress. It's really pretty simple. You have the righteous and you have the unrighteous. And we're basically, what we're doing is just going to make sure that we get in where we fit in and make sure that we understand justice and not just us. Look out for other people, family. All right. So in the meantime, between time, may the Most High and Saudi bring you joy. And I really enjoyed this live. And being with is going to be out of 5,000. Love you guys. And I'm out.